I have to ask, is that a pre-roll in your hand?
Is that a what?
What's in your, is that a joint in your hand?
Oh no, it's a pen.
Oh, I thought it was a joint.
This is how I
I
get
was like,
high.
finally an answer. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
no, no. Imagine the whole time I'm just kind of
I know, I was like, okay, but I'm cool with that.
no. It's a micron
It's
number.
yeah, that's where my brain is.
It's Troy TV. Comic book art critiques. Snark, pizza, and sarcastic ways. Levels and geeky gaze. Aliens, comics rule the day. Hurry up and turn that page. Michael, Fitz, Troy.
Hi, Mahdi.
Hey
How
Michael,
are you?
how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I know it's been a long time coming, so I'm very excited to get to chat with you today.
For
I
sure.
only I have like an hour, so I won't take up your whole day.
No, it's perfect. Sounds great.
But so I always like to just get like start the introduction so I don't waste any time, like waste any conversation. I feel like if I start talking to you now, then I'll lose like some nuggets. So I'll do a little intro and then we'll just go right into it if that's okay with you.
Yeah, ready to go.
All right. Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. I'm very excited today. We are talking to the incomparable Mahdi Khene, one of the most exciting voices in indie comics going right now. And he came onto my radar a while ago, and there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. He has a line of superhero comics called ZUPERHERO comics that I absolutely adore. You might know him from his infamous bootleg Spider-Man. And he also has a dope AF pinup for my upcoming Big Bang project. So I'm very excited about all of this. So welcome, Mahdi Khene. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So are you a native New Yorker?
Yeah, I would consider myself that. I moved around a little bit in my life, but I think New York is definitely home for sure.
I feel like you haven't been doing comic books for an incredibly long amount of time, but I could be wrong because you seem to have quite the catalog. Like you have tons of comic books.
Yeah, I think I started so before, I think in 2021 is when I started making I made my first ever comic, like full issue in July, I think 2021. And then in January 2022 is when I started with the whole superhero concept and stuff. Before that, I was a musician. I was like gigging around New York doing the thing. And then after COVID, all the kind of like gigs went up in the air. And so I had to kind of, switch lanes a little bit, find another art medium. So then I went to comics. I was watching Smallville. I love that show ever since I was a kid. I was rewatching the seasons for like the 20th time in my life. And I was like, hey, I should make a superhero. And then I did a superhero. And that was it. Yeah.
And that was that. I know it's funny how retroactively speaking, like COVID was very good for comic books in a lot of ways. I think it forced people to stay at home and sit at their drawing tables when they otherwise wouldn't. So I mean, but your initial superhero comic books, because I think in Kayfabe or something, I don't know, or maybe it was you were looking for YouTube channels or something like that to help promote and then someone recommended me, and then you sent me like 7 books or something like that. I was like,
whole thing.
I mean, how did you produce so much in such a short amount of time? And you're penciling, inking, lettering, coloring, and they're not like throwaway books. They're like fully realized, like amazing concepts. You've covered like several different genres. There's like a noir one, a superhero one. It's like almost like a blaxploitation one with the Zalul in a way, right?
Yeah. Like a horror, blaxploitation, 70s, 60s, stuff like that. I mean, I just so I wanted to make comics and I just started, and then I started researching because when I was a kid, I read more like the French comics, the BDs, growing up because I was born in Algeria, so I have that French connection in terms of the language, and so I was reading those comics a lot, but I also was reading McFarlane Spider-Man, John Romita Spider-Man, all that stuff, Dragon Ball Z. So I loved comics growing up, And then when I started making it, I realized I didn't really know where to start. So YouTube, amazing resource for learning. So I just started, looking at interviews of people and everything. And I think I stumbled on a Tom McFarlane interview where he said, you got to do a page a day. Except in my mind, I didn't realize he was meant, a page of pencils that then you send to an inker, that then you send. So I just I have to do a full page a day, every day, no matter what. That's the only way to get, something substantial, underneath your belt. And so I just went for it, and I just kind of, I don't know, working class dude. I was working at a cafe, so I would take my paper or my iPad or whatever, and do sketches on top of the espresso machine, in between drinks and on my lunch break, and every second I got, I would just work and put my pen on the paper. Yeah.
So have you always drawn, like, has it always been a passion for you, aside from being a musician, like the whole time before actually making a comic, are you like sketching? Are you doing like mini comics? Like,
I never did the comic format. I think when I was a kid, maybe I tried a few, I think I did for a book report, a comic adaptation of White Fang. I did that, I think, in school. But no, I've always drawn. I've always enjoyed drawing and also creating characters, kind of a clown with like my brother and stuff. We'd always create these random, scenarios and scenes and characters and stuff like that. So I've always had that kind of playing around in my head. And every time I would draw somebody, I was always interested in the story behind the picture, did some painting and stuff like that. Nothing too, I started playing guitar when I was 14. And so that sort of took over my interests more. So I would draw a little bit, but mostly I was just playing. Yeah.
Well, I think you misinterpreting Todd McFarlane's message was like probably the best thing to ever happen, because talk about creating a great work ethic, like a fully realized page a day. No wonder why you've been able to pull it off. And then in the middle of doing all these, comics that you created, your own line of superheroes, out of the blue comes this, one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced in my entire life is the bootleg Spider-Man. Like, what was the impetus of that?
So I did 6 issues of the ZUPERHERO series, and then I was working on the 7th, and I thought I was kind of hitting a roadblock with that. So I created a new series called Steel Streets, and I did 4 issues of that one. And then by the time I was doing the 4th one, in the middle of it, I just had writer's block, and I didn't know, so I just put it down for a second. But in the meantime, I had gone to Baltimore Comic-Con, and I was just sketching, and I was doing Spider-Man, I was on a Ditko and Romita kick for some reason, serendipitously. And I started drawing in commissions of Spider-Man and everything. And people were telling me I had a specific style with Spider-Man. They're like, oh, you kind of make it eerie, kind of creepy. I was like, cool, yeah, whatever. Came back home. Then on the Kayfabe group, I posted a little black and white sketch of Spider-Man. And I think a tongue-in-cheek comment saying, hey, Marvel, can you let me do a black and white Spidey? That'd be great, something like that. And then somebody commented, just do a bootleg. And that had never crossed my mind before. And so I was taking a break from Steel Streets to kind of break that story. And then I just decided to have some fun, and I started making the bootleg Spider-Man. And then like maybe in 5 days, I think I did it in a week, and it was done and ready to go. Yeah.
You did it how long it took you to do that?
I think it was like 5-6 days.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's so good. Like, I like one of the things I really love so much about your work is this like undercurrent of humor that just like exists within it. And it's I don't know why, like, it's just such a strange brand of humor in a way, but it just makes it so good for me, because it's like something like totally dark and serious will be going on, but then you always manage to work in these like kooky ideas, or just like they'll say, one of the characters will say something that just really just makes me smile and laugh so much.
Oh, great.
And your artistic influence seems to be like really all over the place, because it's like, and I said it in one of my reviews, like, I hope it's not offensive, but in a way there's a crudeness to your art. Absolutely. But at the same time, it's like especially like your color sense is amazing. I have to say, like Jim Rugg really complimented your colors on the Big Bang pinup, and once again, like totally nailed it. Like, so like, you know, it's funny because your Spider-Man is horrifying. Like it is like
Oh
one of
yeah,
the most horrifying things. Like, you know,
still.
Mary Jane is like
Oh man,
morbidly obese and
I did everyone dirty. I just
and poor Peter, I know, like she can't even look at him without his mask because
yes.
he's continuing to mutate and just
Yeah.
like I don't know, like have you I know you did it. I think I got the second printing, which I
Okay.
was kicking myself that I missed the first printing, but
Oh, shit.
have you done a third or printing yet, or
I
is it?
haven't. No, I kind of stopped it after the second one.
Yeah. How did,
Um,
okay, so you basically hit the lottery though by having uh Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor cover the bootleg
oh yeah,
Spider-Man on their show. So how, like, did you send it to him and then you just
yeah,
randomly, they randomly covered it and you were surprised by it, or?
for sure. So it was. I think I posted on the Kayfabe Facebook group, and that Jim, he's part of that group, and he commented on the post saying, "I want one." You know,
Mhm.
so Jimmy says he wants one. You know, you send him one.
Yeah, you just run to the mail box. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a courteous thing to do, right? So I sent him a copy, and then he liked it. He posted about it, and then I sent Ed also a copy, and they liked it enough to do an episode, which was fantastic. You know, because when I started making comics, I discovered the Kayfabe channel, and by the time I got to it, I think they'd been doing it for maybe a couple of years already,
Yeah.
and so I had an enormous back catalog of videos to get through, and I learned everything. You know, so as much as I could learn about comics, I learned from that channel. Uh, like videos where they'd say we're making zines today or something. I went out and I bought the stapler, the guillotine. They say we're making mini comics, and I said, okay, I have to make one of those. Everything that they covered that I thought was cool, I would try to make. You know, and so I made it a goal of mine. I said to myself, like, now one day, you know, in 10 years, I'll have to look at one of my back issues on the Kayfabe channel. That could be cool. I didn't know they were going to do, you know, the bootleg right away, and it was amazing. It was a surreal moment just because I was at my day job when the episode hit, and I had my phone in my pocket, and all of a sudden I hear first, you know, a little vibration. I'm like, okay, then they just kept vibrating from notifications and all these things. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And yeah, it was surreal. It was cool. Really cool.
Yeah, that has to be like the coolest thing ever. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Um,
But it's also the, you know, the comic community is so welcoming. It's the most unpretentious, wonderfully accepting artistic community that I've ever seen. Because no matter, you know, a new kid on the block with a weird style, like people are just, if it speaks to them, they like it. And if they like it, they get it, they talk about it. And it's amazing because in the music world, it's not, you know, you don't really find that in the high art world. It's all different. Comic is really like, you know, it's for the people, which is really nice, which I accept.
I think there's like this, you know, just underlying mutual understanding of like just loving comic books. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
If I love comic books and I know that you love comic books, it's
Yeah.
like we're in on a little secret or something. Like
Exactly.
we know what's good or something. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. Absolutely.
yeah, and you don't, you know, it's funny because, you know, as a middle-aged, you know, comic geek, I don't have like, you know, it's like I have like the people in my circles, like as far as like, you know, the projects I'm working on and stuff, but in everyday real life I don't really talk to too many people about comic books. So it's
Sure.
weird to still have it almost be like this closet thing like
Yeah, right.
decades later in my life, because you know,
Yeah.
when I was, you know, reading comic books in the 80s, it's like I was whole hog unapologetic about it, but
Right.
you can bet like it was not cool to wear like comic book t-shirts and stuff.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I'm kind of glad to see it so entrenched in pop culture now that, you know,
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's definitely social progress with in all respects that people can just, you know, be who they are, whether it be a comic book geek or a, you know, whatever, movie buff or anything. You know, it's just nice. It's very nice. It's nice to see.
I know it's funny because you know, one of the joys of doing like I was obviously influenced by the Kayfabers to do my show. You know, it was during COVID, and like I had all these old comic books from my childhood, and
Right.
I don't know, it was like I really reconnected to comic books because, you know, they were they were always there for me. So
Right.
it felt like a good go-to for the comfort, and so I started doing my show. and getting more back into comics and stuff. And I'm really beholden to, the comic books I grew up on from the 80s and stuff like that. But so a lot of the comic books that I read now are like independent or self-published or Kickstarter comics. And there's some of the most amazing comic books out there. So I love the aspect of comic books that, where there's a will, there's a way, like you said, you just watched kayfabe videos and ran out and got whatever they told you to did and did it. You know what I mean? And it's not as easy to do like something like, make your own film or make an album or something like that. So comics is a great platform for artists to, express themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I saw the latest comic book you have out is a superhero comics Cosmos something. I think I saw the cover.
The last comics I put out was the Steel Streets issue 7. But I think I announced that I'm doing a few other superhero books. There's one called Lost at Land that's going to come out soon, and then I also have another Tales of the Cosmos that's gonna be
that cover once again. I don't know. It just like there was some wording on it that just like was cracking me up. I just love it, and like the look on their faces too. Yes, you draw some of the best faces ever. Like there's this character in Zul, the red like freaky mutant guy.
Oh, the mutant guy? Yeah.
They just have the most, sometimes they just have like the most like ridiculous looks on their face, and it's just like horrifying and hysterical at the same time. I don't know. You just, you're one of those artists who just really knows how to evoke a sort of feeling or emotion. It's like I speaking of movies, it's like reading your books, I just feel like you're such an auteur. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm reading these like little independent films. It's like
amazing.
It's got your voice, it's got your stamp, and they're also wildly different. It's kind of amazing how like what a chameleon you are, and how you're able to really nail whatever genre you decide to do. Like that's a talent for sure. Like I would be hard pressed to say like to put you in any category just because of that. You know what I mean? Like you don't seem to gravitate mostly to superheroes or noir or horror or whatever, because you're pretty good at all of them.
I mean, I don't really, I try not to think about it too much. I don't know what I think my style is maybe just, doing a little quirky spin on something, maybe, it's not necessarily the line, but it's more the approach, maybe. I don't know. I haven't, because I don't think I have a style artistically, because I like to change, like you said, I like to change it up all the time. It really depends what I'm feeling that day. I think in one book even you can see some changes and everything from page to page. But I don't know. I think this is also it's people who, the heroes I look up to, when they say something that resonates with me, I just apply it all the way. And I think it was either Sal or John Buscema that said, or maybe it was Jack Kirby actually, who said, if you want to be faster, throw away the eraser. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, well, done. I'm never going to think twice about a line. Let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. And whatever is put on the page is what's on the page. The story is the story, just like in life, you kind of, everything has, there doesn't need to be this crazy overthought kind of narrative or over-explained or overthink, because, in life, you take any snippet of your life, and if you cut it at one point and cut it at another point, that's the story. That's how I see it. That's how I see it, storytelling and everything. And so whatever I draw is what I draw. And, not to say I won't, think twice. It's not every line is perfect or whatever, but it's usually my first instinct. I try to listen to that and go for that. And then if that ends up being, noir or horror or wacky sci-fi or, ugly Spider-Man, then that's just what happens.
So aside from obviously selling out of bootleg Spider-Man from the kayfabe effect, how did that change your career path in any other ways? Like, were you selling out of your own books or selling a lot more?
Yeah, what the kayfabe episode did was like it showed off the bootleg thing, but it also gave a lot of eyes to my work. I think a lot of people discovered me as an artist through that episode. And so I saw a bunch of people kind of, the bootleg was their entry, but then they stuck around, which was amazing because it was, the test is kind of, are you the one-hit wonder? Do you just have the one book, that people look at you and they're like, oh, that's the bootleg Spider-Man guy and that's it? Or is it, oh, wait, he has this whole catalog of also comics that are in the same vein that are, that's him. I like this book not because it's Spider-Man, but because he did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah.
So it's like that was the kind of the test. And yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Everyone has been really, supportive and nice, and they follow my work. And, I got invited to Heroes Con, where I was sat right next to I was in the same block as Ed and Jim, stand-up guys.
Yeah, very cool.
Back to back with Jim. We were just kind of hanging out. It's great.
I know, that's awesome. I know.
Yeah.
That's, you talk about like the comic book community and how welcoming they are and stuff. I do like the communal aspect of it. I do love that. Like I did think of that Heroes Con because a few artists who are on the Big Bang book were there together, and I was just like, oh, that's so cool that Nick Cagnetti is doing the centerfold for the book, and you were there, and I forget, it was somebody else. And Jim, of course.
And you'll get a kick out of this. About the go back to the unpretentiousness. You get to chat with amazing creators, and they're just like happy to talk. I think we're all cartoonists. We're all kind of a little bit antisocial or just alone a lot. And so when people talk to each other, it's always genuine and nice. And I got to have a great chat with Don Simpson. I know you're.
Yes. I know. As I say, Don Simpson always works his way into my videos, no matter what the subject is. So. For sure. But he's. I mean, I've only talked to him on Zoom and stuff, but he's just one of the most talented cartoonists ever. Like, his lettering is annoyingly perfect, and
it's crazy.
His inking. Like, I watched a video of him inking once, and he inked with a crow quill, and it looked like he was inking with a brush. I was just like, there's some kind of magic going on there for sure.
Looking through his original art portfolio, it's ridiculous. It looks like the lettering was typed. It's crazy. But it's like getting to talk to all these creators and kind of hanging out and just talking shop and everything. And I'm not, I don't think I'm like, it's only been a couple years, so in my mind it's all kind of new, and so I don't know that much. I don't know as much about comics as a lot of people. I can't geek out the same way just because I don't know what people are talking about, So people say, oh, the issue, no, this and this. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. And I go back home and I look it up and I try to read it and find it, It's just not, but it's just the learning, that's the part that I like the most, is being able to just hang out, talk to these people, just absorb everything, because I get sent into so many directions that it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I just love comics.
I know. I know. It's just, like I said, they've just, I feel like they've always been a part of my life. They taught me how to read. They taught me how to draw.
Right.
They were my friends when no one else would be.
Absolutely. They're still my friends.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I was reading my new comic books last night, and just, there's just something about it that's magic. And absolutely. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, I wish they were more popular and more successful so we could all make more money and, be more satisfied. But then on the other hand, I kind of like that it's like a niche thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you're protective of it in a way,
Sure. And, it's the physicality of it is also kind of, it's something that's getting rarer and rarer in the digital world that we're, heading towards, where, CDs, the tapes came and went, CDs came and went, vinyls kind of having an emergence, but it's not widespread, and movies are now being streamed and stuff like that. So the physical aspect of comics is still going strong, which is fantastic. That people still want physical objects. They still want to taste it. I mean, you can taste your comics if you want. It's no judgment, whatever. But they want to see it.
You heard it here first, guys. Mahdi Khene's edible comics coming your way.
That's how
that would be that actually would be so. Now Jim Rugg is all about a good concept, so don't let him steal that idea from you. But that actually would be funny, because it's like you know, that's the question. It's like, this is comic book, it's edible, but do you eat it?
Exactly.
Fuck no.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course
yeah.
not. You're not gonna eat your comic book.
You find out
Maybe buy two, eat one and save one.
yeah. Keep one bag and board and the other one between bread. That's great. No, yeah, I
So,
mean, yeah, please.
oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna keep going about it.
Oh no, what else was I gonna say to you? Oh, I just so thank you very okay. So I have a Big Bang Treasury size Kickstarter project coming up. I've enlisted all of my favorite artists. Like I cannot even believe how lucky I am. Like I don't know why everyone said yes to me, but they did. And so we have a cover by Jim Rugg. We have a B cover by a Chase cover by Carrie Callan, which is amazing. We have the dope centerfold of Berserker from Nick Cagnetti, and just like tons of other like great indie artists and people I know. And like the most like, first of all, thank you for saying yes. And second of all, like you turned around like immediately, and you kind of like I don't like if you're not super familiar with comics, there's no way you were that familiar with Big Bang. Did you even know about Big Bang before I approached you with it?
No. I learned it from you, from the source.
And then you turn in this pinup. I'm going to show the pinup in the video, so it's not going to be a spoiler. And you've shared it, I think. But it's Ultiman and Night Watchman versus Dr. Cortex, and it's like Ultiman's Ultranium Ultimatum or something like that. And but I love it because I feel like you know, Big Bang is very like 1950s 60s nostalgia, and you know, there was like a lot of like fear of bombs and stuff like that. So I feel like it kind of ties into that like perfectly. So it's just tell me about like what your thoughts were approaching that piece, and if any.
Right. So yeah, if any, no thoughts. Yeah, so you sent me like a bunch of like research material, you know, so I read through a bunch of them. I was looking at them, and I got the vibe that it's just, you know, it's hilarity. It's the bootleg kind of vibe. It's making fun of some, but also taking itself seriously, which is cool. And it's just over the top, you know. So I just got this kind of, you know, quirky, funny superhero vibe to it. And, you know, the costumes are hilarious, Night Watchman and all these things. And then I went on Wikipedia and on the website, and I was looking at all the history I was reading the mythology behind every character, you know, that they have on the website. So they're evil scientists and their connections with this and this. I just got into the whole world and just kind of, you know, you just saw what happened. This is an afternoon, just kind of going through everything. And then you told me you wanted it to be very much a me piece, like not to, you know, to be as crazy as I want, whatever. So I was like, okay, I have a guy. Has this rock that he's doing, but it powers him, but it also makes him weaker if he holds it on too long. Let's just rip off his face. It'd be great. And he just kind of, and I just did this little piece. I just wanted to do an action scene, kind of like a trailer to a movie where it's like, is he gonna survive? Ultiman's ultimate, or whatever. So that was my
I know when I first got it, I was, of course, immediately thrilled, and then quickly was like sort of horrified. I was like, oh no, I'm like, I hope Gary doesn't think this is too crazy. Gary Carlson, the you know, big cheese of Big Bang, and and he like instantly loved it. So I was like, okay, I'm going in the right direction here. So
yeah. Last thing I want to do is insult the creator, you know, and have
well, you know, it's funny because I feel like any good writer is willing to torture their characters. So, you know, I always bring up like Storm from the X-Men with Chris Claremont. Like he put her through the ringer, like I hated him half the time because of what he did. But at the end of the day, he created one of the most well-rounded, like amazing character story arcs in comic book history. So there you go. You gotta torture your children.
Yeah. You heard it here first, guys.
If you want them to grow up properly. I don't
know. Torture your kids, folks. Do it.
So I obviously you're very busy. Well, so what kind of, like, you must have an amazing work ethic. What do you and you're a full-time cartoonist now? You're able to do it full-time, or are you still
No, I still work a couple of days at the cafe, kind of keep
Yeah.
my social life going a little bit. You know, it's the only
Yeah.
social interaction I have now, which is nice. No, my work ethic. I mean, honestly, um, I think I'm more similar to the kind of depression era cartoonists than I am to, you know. So I just kind of get up in the morning, put on my proverbial tie, and sit at the drawing board with my pot of coffee, and I just get to work, and then see when then 12 hours go by, and then I say, okay, good day's work, and then I'm like, hey, maybe I could do a little more, and then I go for it some more, and then keep going, yeah. But it's just yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
was gonna say, but I enjoy every second of it, so it's not torturous, you know. It's not. It's just it's really
That's
nice.
true. I know it's like on one hand, you know, it's a lot of hard work, but then on the other hand, you're right. Like it's just so fun. I mean, you just lose hours and hours. Just like I'm doing a lot of coloring on the book for some of the other artists, and God, I mean, I'll start you know coloring something, and like just 5-6 hours will go by, and I'll be like, where am I?
Yeah, it's a time suck.
Yeah, it's definitely it transports you.
Yeah.
For sure. So what else are you working on? You're just still working on the superhero. Do any other aces up your sleeve? Any bootlegs or
yeah, I mean no bootlegs right now. I mean, we never know. They might, who knows, maybe I'll have another writer's block and then something will pop up. But
I mean if
right
that's the fruit of your light writer's block, then bring it on. We should all
take another road, you know. Yeah,
do
I
you
have
people ask for covers or pinups or any work from you? Do you
every now and again, yeah, I'll get a couple offers and stuff like that. But the thing is, right now, I'm sort of, because with my whole superhero universe, I'm trying to just build a big, very big universe. So I have, you know, 2 series coming, and then so I did the first season of Steel Streets, and now that one's, I did 7 issues. It's like a big arc. So that one's, I'm gonna put it aside and start building the superhero universe. Do some more stories like that to kind of build up the mythos on that side, but it's all gonna kind of come crashing together at some point. And so I'm doing that, and then some cool things. I might have some cartoonists doing potentially some work for superhero comics, which is cool. So maybe you'll be seeing, instead of 1 superhero book coming out a month, maybe 2, maybe 3.
cool.
You know? Who knows?
Very cool.
Yeah. Excelsior, just kidding. Don't kill me. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Just kind of keep on, you know, I was working on right before we started. I was doing a little page for Lost at Land, you know, just doing a little.
Oh, cool. I was just about to ask you if so you work like traditionally on boards and then you color it digitally.
Yeah, I do that, but I'm not really what's it called? I'm not losing the word. Like I don't have a preference. I'm not picky. Yeah. So if I feel like doing a page on the iPad, I'll do it. I'm not a purist, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm not, for me it depends what I feel like doing. If I feel like getting to the drawing board and sitting and having, you know, the ink well in my fingers, then I do it. But if I just want to chill on the couch and just kind of do it on my iPad, I'll do that. Yeah. So most of my books are splices of digital and practical art. For sure.
Do you write out the full story first, or do you just, because if you're following Todd McFarlane's process, then he drew like every page of Spawn randomly and then just threw them on the floor and put it together.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I recommend that.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. When you read the Spawns, you gotta.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Sure, just throw it in the air and see what happens.
Yeah, the randomness would be cool. Yeah, actually, your a bootleg Spawn by you would be pretty dope.
Bootleg Spawn. But I make him super handsome under the face, you know. That's
right. That would be the twist, right?
Yeah.
But then again, I guess you don't want to like pigeon yourself as like the bootleg guy or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I want it to be
organic.
Or exactly. I want to have fun with it when it comes around, and I want to do whatever. I'm not someone that feels compelled to, even though it was successful, I don't feel the need to keep on, chasing that that kind of fame or following it up with something. Oh, bootleg Spider-Man was great. Let me do bootleg Wolverine. Let me do bootleg that. I'm just kind of like, I'll see what happens. If I feel like fucking Wolverine, then I'll do that. But otherwise, it's not.
I can only imagine the torture you would put Wolverine through, and
Man.
I low-key want to see it so bad.
Yeah, maybe a mini someday. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But, yeah, but as for my writing process, I think I Marvel method myself. Where I just kind of have an overview of what I want to do, and then I'll start drawing the page. And then after I've drawn the page, I color the page or tone it or whatever, and then I'll write the dialogue. But I rarely leave a page on. I'm sorry, I'm in New York, so it's like I don't know if you hear those sirens.
I can't.
Oh, you can't hear?
No,
okay.
no, I can't.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I never leave a page unwritten after I finish it. So for me, when I finish like a page a day, means inked, toned, lettered, everything written, and then like done, and then I go to the next page, or I start the same process over again. Unless I'm doing a double page spread, in which case it's 2 pages.
Yes. So that's 2 days for a double page spread. You're like, no, I can do it in one.
No, that's 1 day. Yeah, that's a 1 day. Just a bigger piece of paper. I still could say 1 page.
I'm jealous of your output and work ethic for sure. So I mean, I think that when you said that you work like a Depression era cartoonist, I immediately thought of how lucky they were to not be distracted by social media.
Sure, yeah. Turning your notifications off. That's
100%.
Yeah. You do not want to have your phone there every 10 seconds doing ding, 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 and because you have to look, because it's amazing. Because it's, you do. It's magic in a box. It's like you get, a friend that you haven't spoken to from in Zimbabwe texting you. It's magic. There's infinite entertainment on this. It's impossible to resist. So you gotta have to kind of like, do your best to throw it away, or sort of, Even you get trapped in when you're drawing and you want to put on a podcast or a radio show, whatever. Sometimes I found myself kind of spending way too much time looking for something to listen to before starting to draw. It's like finding the show before you eat something. You know what I mean? It's just
I 100%. I know, and then I'll be like, I'll settle on something, then I'll start it, and then I'll be like, oh, this isn't really what I want to listen to right now. And then it's such a waste of time. You're right.
Oh my gosh. Go by, and then you're just like, oh god. So just silence with some music and then see what happens. And then,
I know. I guess it's the yin and yang of it, right?
Right. Exactly. It's the world we live in. For some things, without the internet and social media, you wouldn't hear about so many cartoonists or artists. It's fantastic. It's given a microphone to a lot of people that would have otherwise never been able to have the voice, to say, hey, look at my art, look at this, look at that. So for some things, it's wonderful. But for other things, it kind of.
Yeah, I guess it's like anything in life, right? The good and the bad.
Exactly, and the ugly.
Yeah, it's true. Exactly. So is there anything else you want to share with the viewers or me, or before we wrap this up, anything in the pipeline, anything you want the world to know about Mahdi Khene?
I have a few books that are going to be coming out in the fall. I think I'll pick back up Steel Streets. I just think we're going to be seeing a lot more superhero books coming out from hopefully collaborations with different artists. I'm doing Baltimore Comic-Con in September, so see me there. Otherwise, I don't know, I did a fun pinup, and I can't wait to see your project come out. And
yes, I'm very excited about it. It's going to be really, really cool, and I cannot wait. And I feel like I'm saying this to everybody, but your pinup really is one of my favorite parts of the whole book.
I think if you have a book, every single page should be your favorite page for sure.
And so far it has been. So
yes, that's great. That's great.
Like there's not, And as I told Jim Rugg, if you really want to bring out the best in people, hire Jim Rugg to do the cover for your book, because once the artists know that, they're like, oh shit, I gotta bring my A game now. So I'm like, yeah, we don't want Uncle Jim to look at this and think it's shit, right?
Exactly. It's like, oh man, no. Absolutely.
Well, it was a total joy to get to talk to you, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future. I thank you again for your amazing contribution to our Big Big Bang Treasury Kickstarter coming soon, July 15th. And also your continued success on your amazing line of superhero comic books. For anyone who likes a fresh voice with really fun art and just like really compelling stories, in spite of the humor, like, because like I said, like the humor is just like, I feel like the icing on the cake, you know what I mean? Because it isn't necessary to the story, but it just makes it so much fun. So people need to sell out your shop or wherever, and I'll put a link for you know, where you can find superhero comics. And I've been covering your books, and I've been just enjoying the hell out of them, and I appreciate your time, and thank you so much, and your talent. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
I keep saying it, but you really are one of the freshest voices in indie comics right now, and people definitely need to. I know. What can I say? I firmly believe in giving compliments if they're deserved. So
thank you. I appreciate it all. Thank you so much.
You deserve any accolades and success you've gotten and continue to get and will get in the future. So
thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mahdi. I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit like, and I will bring you more soon. Thanks, Mahdi.
Peace.
Okay.